Kitty. Welcome everyone. My name is Nicole, and today we have yoga practicing strength and softness. So, it's Bomani. So, we're going to dive in a little deeper into the energetics of the poses and see how maybe we can activate things, our muscles more or less, depending, So, taking the time in each pose really to kind of notice what's happening and, if we're like tightening our face or muscles that don't need to be tightened, and as well as maybe we're dumping in to our shoulders and we're just kind of like hanging out, we're not really engaging. So he likes to put on a show here. So it's just a little heads up that it's going to be a little more, I'm going to be cueing a little bit more into having you notice what's happening in your body. So I hope that you enjoy. We are going to start laying down. So find your Shavasana position. And we are going to keep the sequence fairly simple so that we can notice what comes up. But so find a comfortable laying down position and just start to connect with your breath. Taking deep breaths in through the nose and out through the nose. Feel where your body is touching the earth. And soften your face, your jaw, your eyes. And bring awareness to your shoulders, chest, back. Take a deep breath into this area and sigh it out, and see if you can get those shoulders and that upper back area to just relax a smidge more into the earth. A lot of us hold tension there, even when we're not realizing it. So it's important to take time during your day and notice if you're gripping in your shoulders, and just try to consciously relax those areas again and again so that we can get out of this constant activated state. Now breathe a deep breath into your belly, fill it up, and then on the exhale, feel it sink. And just take a few deep belly breaths here. If you like, you can put one hand on your heart and one hand on your belly, and just really focus on the rise on the inhale and the fall on the exhale. Now bring notice to your pelvis. And invite some breath and openness to this area. Legs, feet, feel them heavy and completely relaxed. Now for a few breaths, just continue scanning your body and breathing and seeking out any place that you feel sensations and breathing there, and inviting those areas to relax, let go. All right, well, hopefully We have come into a nice, relaxed state of being. And I think this is a great starting point. So let's try to invite this ease that we're feeling now into the rest of the practice, and definitely notice when we lose that sense of calm. So laying on our backs here. We're gonna inhale, draw the knees into our chest and place the hands on the knees. And exhale, press away the knees into the hands. Inhale, drawing the knees into your center. And then exhale, pressing away. Just notice how this movement feels. Continuing to breathe. And then go ahead and drop the feet and roll to your right side. And use your hands to push yourself back to a seated position. And from here, find a comfortable seat. So you may want to sit up on something so there's no pressure in the knees. Anywhere you feel very comfortable. Make the spine long. Take a deep breath in. And then we're going to drop the right ear to the right shoulder. And breathe and notice how this feels for us. Does our neck feel tight? Maybe we don't feel anything. There's no right or wrong here. We're just trying to be present and notice what is coming up for us while we move through this practice. Inhale, head back to center, and then drop the left ear off to the left shoulder. And is there a difference in sides? Does this side feel any different for you? What's your face doing? Is it relaxed? And then inhale, back up. Now we're gonna look over our right shoulder and then drop our nose to our right armpit. And it's a little bit of a different stretch in the neck. Just take notice and breathe. What's your breath doing? Are you filling all the way up on the inhale, or is it shallow? Just notice and see if you can deepen it a little bit more. And then inhale, look up, turn the head back to center, and then look over the left shoulder and drop the nose to that left armpit. And breathe and notice any difference between the sides. Imagine sending breath to where you feel anything coming up or any sensations. And then inhale, look up, turn your head back to center. And we're gonna come onto all fours. Starting here, we're gonna notice our foundation. Our hands, we're gonna have them under our shoulders. But we want our hands really bright and active. So this is a place where I think sometimes we tend to lose engagement, or we don't really think about it all that much. So especially once we get into the more, right, we're working, who knows what the hands are doing. So, but we want to start really bright, active hands. Pressing down firmly. Knees under hips. And then you can have your toes curled under or flat, whatever suits you. And we're gonna cat-cow here. So cow, tailbone to the sky, heart reaching forward. Maybe you have a little bend in the elbows. I tend to hyperextend here, but you know. And just feel the shape. And breathe. Where you feel tension, maybe what is your face doing? Does it need to be tight? And then we're gonna come into cat. So an opposite movement, arching up, puffing through the back of the heart, still pressing firmly. The hands are still strong and active. Our base is basically the same. It's our spine causing the movements now. So we've noticed our base and we've created a nice foundation. So now we're focusing on these spinal movements and how that feels. And just go back and forth with your breath. And just, how does it feel for you? Do you like one more than the other? And then come back to center. Remember that calm place we were in before we started movement. Have you lost that? Just notice. It's not a right or wrong. And then from here, we're gonna come into puppy or downward dog. So these are your options. Puppy, knees are under hips and just stretching forward, relaxing the forehead down to the earth or on a block. Or the chest and chin come forward. Or if we're doing downward dog, lift the knees. Our base is still strong with our hands. And then begin to scoot your hips back towards your feet and then press up through your hips. Go ahead and keep the knees bent a whole bunch. And try to get that spine long and pointed up. And then pause and take notice as you breathe. How this feels, especially being the first one. What's your mind doing? Does it feel accepting or resistant? And then bend the knees and step your left foot through. And then squeeze the legs together and pressing down, lift up, come into a high lunge. You can have your hands shooting up overhead, palms pressing together, or just rest them on your thighs. And let's take notice now what our base is doing, our feet. We're just noticing where all the sensations are. And then maybe where we're dumping, maybe we're overactivating, but Now let's really activate and press down through the feet and squeeze the legs together, really activating this right glute on the inhale, so it's causing this lift, super engaged. On the exhale, press that back heel away, come forward, sinking, and then inhale, squeeze, lift. Exhale, press away. Squeeze, lift, press away, and drop some. Bring your hands around your front foot. Drop that back knee. Take a breath here. Exhale. That was a lot of activation, it's a lot of work in those standing poses. So let's try to come back to equilibrium, to calmness, where we can notice things again. And we're gonna press through that front heel back in the half splits. So you can have blocks on either side here. So pressing down through that front heel and drawing this leg back to just activate all the muscles. And breathing. And then we're gonna inhale, come forward. Maybe move this front leg out a little bit to make space for your torso. And stay high or lower. And then breathe into the places you're feeling sensation. And notice your thoughts, and no need to judge, just notice. What's that back leg doing? What's your back foot doing? Is it curled under or flat? Have we forgotten about that part of our body? I tend to, I feel that for me, right, we're all different, so don't necessarily judge yourself on what right, a lot of sensation right in this area. And so who knows what's happening in that back foot, because my attention isn't there. So it's interesting sometimes to bring your awareness to certain areas of the body that we're not necessarily using when other things feel very intense. Okay, so come on up, and we're gonna come back into that half split, pressing through the front heel and drawing the hip back so it's square. A little bend in the knee. And this is our second time coming into it, so just taking a moment to notice, is there more ease now, or what's it like for you? And then come back into high lunge. And we're gonna shift the toes to the long edge of the mat. Inhale halfway, look up. Blocks here too can be nice. And a little bend in the knees. Tilting the pelvis. So we're not scooping it and trying to fold forward. We're rotating it out. and then folding forward from there. But we could just stay here and breathe. This might be very sensational for you. Everyone's gonna have their own edge here. So you just find a nice place that's, what I heard the other day, comfortably uncomfortable. And drop the head if you'd like. And then inhale. Halfway, look up, and we're gonna shift to the back of our mat with our right leg in front for high lunge. So squeeze those legs together, come up, find your stance. Really energetically light up this glute. Extend out that back heel. Hands can be up overhead. We're resting as we focus on our base here. So just notice, and notice now, is there a difference between sides for you? Was the left side any different than this side? And then we're gonna squeeze, so like squeezing the legs together, causing a little rise through the pelvis, and then exhale, pressing the legs away, really extending out that back heel, maybe dropping some. Inhale, rising. Exhale, pressing away. And then bring your hands down over that right foot. Drop the back knee. Press through the front heel for half splits. Little bend in that knee. Inhale, core engaged. Lift up. And you have your blocks here. And just take notice. And then also, so our right side for our first half splits. Imagine sending your breath to anywhere that feels tight. And then we're gonna come forward, maybe move that right foot out some so we have space to come down or stay high or up on blocks. Breathe. Where are you feeling things? Is there anywhere you're gripping that maybe you don't need to grip? Like the jaw. We have a really furrowed brow. And smooth the face. And then inhale, come back up, and we're gonna press through that heel again to come into half splits once more. Just to check out if we haven't had any, notice any differences, maybe a little more ease the second time around. Remembering to press down through the heel and drawing it into my midline to help activate the muscles. Now also to draw that right hip back so that it's level and square. We're about there. And then go ahead and come forward. And we're gonna shift once more, toes long edge of the mat. And inhale, halfway look up. And we're gonna fold again, and this gives you an opportunity to take notice once more, any changes. Now we're going into this the second time. You notice any more ease? Or maybe there's more tension. You notice how you handle judgments that may come up. Just let them go. We're all doing the best we can. And you can fold over, all the way over, and drop the head if you'd like, if you haven't done so. And then I'll come up. And we're gonna turn over our left foot into that lunge. And then go ahead and step back and open the knees wide. Toes touch, child's pose. Using the hands to help press your hips back towards your heels. And we can pause here and check out our hands and see what they're doing. Have we completely forgot about them in our excitement to release and relax down? Because we can very much activate. Come up on those fingertips. Create a little cupping action through the palms. Press your hips back. And then go ahead and drop your head. And then just try to keep this activation going in the arms and the shoulders. And keeping that activation, relax the forehead down and try to find deep relaxation with slight activation. Breathing. Now drop the palms and just let the arms go now. Inhale. Press yourself up. And bring your legs around. You bring your right leg around your left thigh. Just take a moment to find a nice seated position. Bring your right hand behind you. Inhale, left hand reaches up to the sky and twisting and hooking that knee. So you can just clasp the knee. You can come around and hook that way. If you know the bind, feel free. However, take notice of your base. You're still sitting evenly. Can you feel a rise in your spine on the inhale? And a little twist on the exhale. How does breathing feel in this position? And turn your head back to center. Come undone. Bring the legs out in front. Sit evenly once more. We'll bend in the knees here. And then just come forward as much and have the knees bent as much as you can. You can just rest here with a long spine, chin lifting. Trying to decide where your edge is that still allows you to maintain integrity. The feet flexed and active. And maybe as we sit here and breathe, we find that we can come into it a little bit more deeply, or maybe not. And then for a few breaths, go ahead, if you've maintained a nice long spine, to go ahead and round and take a few reflective breaths. Notice how this feels differently on your spine now that you have allowed the head to drop. And now engaging the core, come back up to a seated position, and then we're gonna draw the left foot around the right thigh, and you can draw that right foot back in, or you can leave it out along the floor. Either way is perfectly fine. And then sitting nice and evenly, reach your left hand behind you. Inhale that right hand high to the sky. And then twisting to the left, hooking that knee. And looking over your left shoulder. Breathing and notice the difference between sides. Notice that twisting and breathing feels a little different. How can we breathe deep or invite in the breath and stay expansive when we're twisting? Inhale, lifting. And exhale, twisting. Inhale your head back to center. The rest of you, come undone. And go ahead and we're gonna meet once more on our backs. So go ahead and cross the right ankle over that left thigh, figure four, thread the needle. Same pose. Reach through the four hole and then around with that left hand. Keeping the feet flexed and active. Pressing the whole back body into the earth. And notice now, how does this feel? Is there an immediate sense of ease, relaxing down? And breathe. And drop that left foot. And you're going to switch sides. So take a pause in the middle to recenter your hips. And then left ankle over right thigh. To make a little four shape here. Some people thread the needle. And you reach your left hand through that hole. And come around with the right hand. Clasp the hands if that's accessible. Notice any differences. Breathe into any sensations. Close the eyes down if that feels nice. Keep the feet active. And then lower. Release the legs. And place the feet about as wide as the mat. We can have our hands come out in cactus. And we're just going to windshield wiper the knees off one way and the other. And slowly breathing. And at this point, just trying to make it feel as nice as possible. So if this doesn't feel good, rest in a position that does. Maybe that's just knees knocked in. It's back and forth, unwinding tension. And we're going to come into happy baby now. So draw the knees in and then reach for the outside edges of your feet. Really feeling your whole back body being pressed into the floor, back of the head. Just relaxing. And then roll around on back and forth for a little massage, releasing that low back. And now we're gonna inhale, curl into a ball, squeeze everything tight, hold your breath. When you cannot hold it any longer, let go, release into Shavasana. The feet roll out, palms turn up, and we are back where we started. Please stay here. I will sit and hold space. We have done so much focusing on all the things that have been arising and the feelings and sensations. So just let it all go now. If anything does come up, just breathe into it. Take this time to integrate your practice, and I'll guide you out in a few minutes. And if you're going to come out, you're going to bring small movement back to your body. Otherwise, stay in Shavasana as long as you'd like. And you roll to your right side. Taking a moment. And then push yourself back to a seated position. Thank you for practicing with me today. I hope that was interesting and that you enjoyed a little bit of a different kind of focus. I would always love to hear what you think, so let me know. Have a beautiful day, week. Namaste.